Epic Hero, and welcome to my Q&A, where I answer questions about my gender and sexuality because everyone wants to know. They've just been talking about it on the street. What is Hope's gender and sexuality? If only we knew. And I finally decided to give the people what they want. In all honesty, I'm not sure who really cares, except for the few people that ask me some questions on my Instagram. But it's been something that I was not permitted, encouraged to talk about in my conservative environment. So now that I'm not in my conservative environment, I feel more comfortable talking about it and more comfortable exploring who I am. If I would say something like, oh my goodness, Thor, I mean, maybe I shouldn't be saying this, but whew, I could watch that scene all day. People would just be like, oh yeah, girl. So I don't see why it shouldn't be the same if I'm talking about a girl. Just saying. I have some questions from Instagram. What is your sexuality? That was not actually a question, but I figured I should explain it because that kind of puts context around the whole thing. I'm bisexual. That's the label I use just because the thing about labels is that they're not important to all people. Like, for instance, you could say, you're bisexual, you're straight, you're not straight. It's like, honestly, there aren't labels enough to cover it all. So I think labels are overly simplified, but they do help to sort of identify and explain what you are, what you experience and what you enjoy. And so I use bisexual because I'm attracted to men and women. Now I'm going to cover a couple things that bisexuality is not, that many people think it is. It's not polyamory. Bisexuality does not mean that you are attracted, you want to be in a relationship with multiple people, men and women. It just means that you have the ability to be attracted to both male and female humans. Another thing that bisexuality does not mean is non-binary. I heard this in a YouTube video. It was actually a Disney theory videos where they were theorizing from inside out why the main character's emotions in her head were male and female. You know, maybe some people thought maybe she was bisexual and so she had like two genders, and I was like, that's not what bisexual means, people. Non-binary is a very common phrase, or androgynous maybe, for people that identify as either no gender or multiple genders, genderqueer, gender fluid, but bisexual means you are attracted to men and women. It doesn't have anything to do with the way you identify it. My sexuality is bisexual, but that's oversimplified because I definitely have the ability to be romantically and sexually attracted to non-binary people. I have the ability to be sexually attracted to many people. Who knows? So technically I am pansexual, but I just use the term bisexual because it's more widely accepted. And so more people understand what you mean when you say bisexual. How do you define gender and how does it apply to you? All right, gender, so confusing. And I was really, really insecure and troubled by my understanding of gender and as opposed to other people's understanding of gender. And really, one thing I want to stress here is however you interpret gender, I want you to be comfortable with that, because the way I interpret gender is certainly different or might not be the same as the way, say, like the majority of people interpret gender, or even the way the main minority of people interpret gender. But gender is such a nuanced thing that I think people do experience it and interpret it in different ways. I was really, for some reason, really felt alone and insecure, even in my, LGBT sort of safe groups, to discuss gender, because I was really afraid of offending someone and hurting someone by my interpretation of it. I just want to encourage all people who are LGBT allies to just, when someone's expressing gender and discussing it, to be listening to them, not aiding anyone to act intolerant or judgmental, but still listening to their experience. To me, gender isn't really a thing, because gender means like the types of things that go along with a certain sex. So for instance, you have male and female, right? And of course you have other things in the middle. Then there's all these sort of types of things that go along with male and female. Your stereotypes for male are going to be, you know, strong and leader and competitive, rough, tough, sort of practical. And then there's femininity, which tends to go along with more delicate, more pretty, in more caring, maybe more emotional. So those things are gender. They're things that are generally associated with a male or a female. And transgender is someone who wants to move from female to male or from male to female, because they fit in that role better in society, and so that's the role that they want to live in, which is cool. Gender is just sort of like a way that you express how you are. Because for instance, I can say, oh, I'm not that feminine. And it's like, well, what is femininity? Femininity and masculinity are literally just things that we expect of men and women. But not all men and women are like that. And when you're not like that, you might not want to be that way. And sometimes you are so feminine that you literally want to change sexes or change your entire role, you know? Because culture is so gendered. The people that don't fit in those genders want to change gender, which is cool. And I shouldn't exactly say want to change gender, because it's not like they want to change gender, they just have been that gender all along. Does that make sense? Because like, I don't want gender to be a thing, but it is a thing. So for instance, I'm just going on with my gender. My gender is female non-binary, because I definitely feel more masculine. I was raised very feminine, and this might go along with it, but I feel feminine and also sometimes masculine. I sort of want to move into this role that I have seen men around me doing, and being. But I still am comfortable with my body as a woman, and I still identify with she, her pronouns. So, yeah, the next question was, what pronouns do you use? She, her, and they, them. If someone were to address me as they or them, I would actually be very happy, because I identify with she, her pronouns. I sort of accept my sex dictating my gender, for the most part, but I'm also kind of non-binary, so it's like, you know, so they, them is appropriate too. We're all gonna see things differently. The important thing is that we respect each other's decisions about it. If you see gender as referring to someone's sex and don't think that it has all these things attached to it, not that your opinion doesn't matter, but for you do that, but you're gonna need to call her her, because that's her pronouns and you don't know her life. So I have to realize that the fact that I'm comfortable with she, her doesn't mean that, I mean, what if I wasn't comfortable with she, her? What if I was only comfortable with they, them? So I'm sort of like feminine passing, like it doesn't really matter that much to me. But if I wasn't feminine passing, what a pain in the neck that would be. I'm just fortunate in that way, but other people are not, so be considerate. That's all I have to say. When did you realize you were bisexual? I realized I was bisexual when I realized what sex was, I think, which was kind of late, cough cough. I was a late bloomer, we'll just put it that way. And when I did, I was like, girls, am I right? Only I didn't say that out loud, because, you know, church. But yeah, as soon as I was sexually mature, I realized that I liked girls. And I fantasized about them. That's what that's out there in the world. But even when I was little, I used to wish that girls could marry girls. I was like, why can't girls just marry girls? Like, girls get girls. Like they emotionally bond, and like some guy would be like, why is she crying? I don't get it. And I would be like, see, but like her girlfriend gets it. Like, not her girlfriend, like romantically, but just like her girlfriend. And then I was like, oh wait, they can! Yay! I was already thinking that way romantically when I was young. And then, yeah. puberty happened, I was like, ah. I've never really gone for like hunky type of guys. That's always been a thing. We'd watch a film or something and the girls would be like, oh my goodness, Thor. And this is one I use all the time, but hunky guys, I don't feel anything. I don't really get it. It's more often like somebody's personality, like a guy's personality, and also if they're very tender. I always felt like I just liked more sensitive guys, which I do like more sensitive guys and also more sensitive girls. I like the nerdy kind. I mean, one time I said sometimes you could call me nerd sexual, like that was my sexuality, and I mean it's still true. Kind of been like that forever, and then as soon as I was a teenager and realized that, I was like, okay, this is interesting. There's something so beautiful about girls. Okay? There's something so sexy about girls, and there's something so sexy about guys, but it's a different kind of sexy. And this goes into the next question, because somebody asked, they said, as a bisexual, I'm often told I'm being selfish and to just choose one. I usually ignore it, but it's been getting to me lately. Any advice? But I really don't get the whole, are bisexuals gonna cheat on me because, you know, if I'm dating a girl, she might be like, well, you might like a guy and then you'll dump me. And if I'm dating a guy, they're like, well, you might like a girl and then you'll dump me. I really don't get that, because a straight person, if they're dating a girl, they might see a hotter girl, and are they gonna dump you for the hotter girl? There are always going to be people with different types of sexual attraction out there, whether it's male or female. And so it really doesn't make any difference whether you're bisexual or straight. There's still other people out there, and if you're gonna cheat, you're gonna cheat. Be with who you want to be with. It shouldn't necessarily even matter what your sexuality is. If you consider yourself straight and you're always like, I'm straight, I'm straight, I'm straight. And then you see this girl, and you're a girl, and you see this girl and you're like, whoa, let's hook up. That's fine. If you see a girl and you're like, let's get married and spend our lives together and have 8 kids. That's fine. You're like, wait, I never said I was gay. This doesn't even have to be a big existential crisis. If you want to be with someone, be with them. And if you want to wear pants and a dress, wear pants and a dress. And I understand, obviously, that pronouns and labels help people understand who they are. I mean, because we live in such a judgmental world, it's nice to just be able to know who you are when everyone else is trying to tell you. But at the end of the day, whatever your pronouns and whatever your sexuality, just be you. If you think men and or women might be an option for you, you're bisexual. That's fine to call yourself that. If you haven't experimented enough, you don't have to. So it's like, how do you know you're bisexual? How do you know? It's like, how do I know I like to have a sex with you? So I'm going on a date with you, they're like, wait a minute, we've never had sex. I'm not sure I'm comfortable with this date. How do I know you'll like it? It's like, you figure it out. You just, you just need to be you. Go into what you're comfortable with and what another other person is comfortable with, and explore from there. If you're asexual and you suddenly want to have sex, that's fine. If you're not asexual and you decide to be with a person who is asexual and doesn't want sex, if you were if you were assigned female at birth and then you come out as trans and transition and everything and then decide you want to start wearing dresses, that's fine. Be you. Pronouns and labels mean a lot, but they're only as much you as you are. It's okay to not be able to explain who you are to other people. The right people will respect you, regardless of whether what you have has a name or not. One person said, heteroromantic bisexuality, should it be included in the LGBT community? Any thoughts? And this was asked anon, because, you know, a lot of people are really, really uncomfortable talking about gender and sexuality. I'm a little bit uncomfortable talking about it because of judgment. So let's all try to be more open-minded in the future and have an ear for our friends, because people go through all this really hard judgment and stuff in their life, in their heads. I feel like they can't talk to anyone about it. So please be there for your friend, and let's address this. Heteroromantic bisexuality. This may be somewhere along the lines of where I am. I don't think so, actually. I think I'm just pretty bi. But for a while I thought I might be heteroromantic bisexual, which basically just means romantically attracted. For women it means romantically attracted to men and sexually attracted to women. Will people judge you for it if you come out of it as that? Yes. People will judge you for being anything. Probably not for being straight, but pretty much anything else. And a lot of times, unfortunately, people will judge people based on, like, labels. But you shouldn't judge people based on labels. You should enter a relationship with someone that you feel like you'll get along with, and just try to see how it goes. And if you work together, you work together. There's tons of people out there. People coming out and expressing their sexuality has been happening more than ever lately. But that doesn't make there less compatible people in the world for each other. That just means that all the people in the world have finally started expressing their preferences. Basically, I'm just trying to encourage you to say, not to think of it as more and more and more types of sexualities makes less and less and less compatible people, because there's been many sexualities around forever. We're just finally talking about it, so it just finally helps us understand ourselves better. But the question, should it be included in the LGBT community? It's kind of a funny question, because I guess there is a community around LGBT things, just because people who are LGBT or T feel isolated from other people, so they sort of form these communities. But there really shouldn't exactly be an LGBT community. There should just be a community of humans who accept each other. And should you be in the community of humans who accept each other? Why, yes, because every human needs to be accepted. Thanks for listening to my extremely experienced opinion. I'm obviously only 23. I haven't experienced that much. I'm not trying to speak from a place of extreme intelligence, but I definitely have been me for 23 years, so I'm getting a little used to who I am. Whatever labels you want to use to define it, I definitely know what I like, and I definitely know who I am. So that's me, and I hope that you feel free to be you. Next time, until I see you again, please always remember that whoever you are, wherever you are, and whatever you like, we are epic heroes today and every day of our lives. And I will see you, beautiful human, in the next video. Bye.